All right, welcome back for another episode of the CBSI Hot 10 show. Make sure you go over to comicbookinvest.com and check out the article where I may put a few extra tidbits and details that I don't cover here on the show tonight. And while you're at it, check out all of the shows we do have here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you want to see this week's list, don't worry, I got you covered. Just hang out for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back.
Notable sales.
All right, for our first notable sale, we do have King Spawn number 50, the 1 in 1,000 incentive variant that also comes with a sketch. So, if your retailer ordered 1,000 copies of that King Spawn 50, they were lucky enough to get one of these sketches, and not all sketches are equal. So here is the cover that you get, signed by McFarlane for the 1 in 1,000 variant, which is also kind of cool. It looks like a sketch. It's black and white, gives you the whole look of the cover that actually was released. But in addition to this, you did get one of these original art sketches with a COA as well. Here we have this side shot profile of Spawn done by McFarlane that sold for $6,700 this week on 46 bids at auction. To put that into context, another auction for a Brett Booth sketch sold for only $2,500. So you see where Todd doing Spawn definitely outpaces anybody else doing the sketch of Spawn. So you're going to get a premium there. And this sale here wasn't even the largest of the week. I started it off with this one, but there was another that sold at auction for $7,600 on 40 bids. And you see more of a top half kind of a shot there of Spawn, not in profile for this one. So again, Todd sketches earning big bucks. I don't know. If I was lucky enough to get one of these, I don't know if I would sell it. I mean, $7,000 is a lot of money. But at the same time, to have a one-of-one sketch by McFarlane is kind of cool too. Just one of those things you have to weigh and debate between. Now, with that said, there is another notable sale that I kind of want to point out this week, and this relates to Absolute Batman. As Absolute Batman is still selling very, very well, as you'll see when we get to the list. But this particular cover here, which is actually a second printing, mind you, has been doing very, very well. This is Absolute Batman number 1. This is the second print Felix comic exclusive. I'm not even sure how you would have gotten a hold of one of these, but it was limited to 1,000, which seems like it would be plenty. But this sold this week for an all-time high raw sale of $1,000 on the 4th. So just 3 days ago, $1,000 for a raw copy of this variant. Meanwhile, 9/8 I think sold for like $1,500. A lot of graded sales. A lot of these sold within the last few weeks for hundreds of dollars, but 1,000 was the highest I could see for a raw copy. And like I said, 9/8's $1,500 as well. It's a lot of money for a second print variant. I get it. Not easy to come by, but still, it is what it is. And Absolute Batman is still doing very, very well. So before we get into the Hot 10 list, I want to remind any of you out there who need supplies that you can save 10% off your entire order using my code RENA10 over at BCW. That's 10% off your bags, your boards, your long boxes, your short boxes, your CGC boxes, top loaders, pages for your cards, things like that. Anything to keep your comics or collectibles safe, you can save 10% off your order. You can even use this QR code if that makes it easier by using and then use my code RENA10 to save yourself 10% off. So that'll, help out the channel. You get yourself a discount. You really got nothing to lose by giving it a shot. So if you need supplies, go check out BCW and use my code RENA10 for 10% off your order. Now, with that said, let's get right into the Hot 10 with our first book at number 10.
Number 10.
All right, I mentioned Absolute Batman. Here we are on the Hot 10 with number 10, looking at Absolute Batman number 10. That's right, this book is back on the list. This is the second issue in that Bane story arc where we get a little bit of the origin of our Absolute Bane character. Nick Dragotta cover here. It is down from last week, just a couple of spots. I think it was, book 8, I think, last week, and now it's down to 10. Not due to anything other than, hey, it's got competition. But with 35 sales over the past week, that is actually an 80% jump from the week before. I know last week I gave you a 2-week window, but when I did my math and did my numbers this week, that 80% jump is based off of a 1-week to a 1-week basis. So 1 week to the next, 80% jump with those 35 plus sales, still averaging about 21 bucks. Highs hitting about $30. So Absolute Bane, Absolute Batman is still doing very, very well, as many folks are getting very excited for Absolute Joker coming our way. And I think, 2 issues? I mean, we still got a couple of weeks until we get issue 14. That'll wrap up the Bane story arc. And then I think we kick off next month with Absolute Joker. And again, we'll see how it goes. But a lot of people loving this arc and loving this series. So I'm one of them, mind you. Absolute Batman doing very, very well. So that is our number 10 book. So let's take a look at what we got next at number 9.
Number 9.
Holding strong at number 9, we again have Predator number 1. Yes, Predator number 1 with the new Predator Badlands movie opening up this weekend. This has done well over the last week. I can't wait to see this movie. I'm going to try to see it, I think, tomorrow. If my son gets back from my father-in-law's, we might try to see it if I got time. I am prepping for a comic book show down here in South Jersey on Sunday, so I may not have the free time to go see the movie, but I hope so. But Predator Badlands opening, a lot of people still picking up this Predator number 1 with 30 plus sold over the past week, which is a 100% jump over the volume from the prior week before. Raw hitting $100 still. CGC 9.8 sold this week for $520, which is a 10% increase from last week. Doesn't seem like much, but it was under 500 last week. It's over 500 now. So big numbers for this book from 1989. Predator number 1, still an awesome cover, still a classic comic, and selling very, very well. We'll see if this continues to hold after the movie continues to play, but we still got more Predator projects coming our way in both comics and television, etc. Whole lot to look forward to if you're a fan of the Predator and Alien series. So with that said, let's keep the list rolling and check out our next one at number 8.
Number 8.
Absolute. It's not just Batman, but here is Superman also making his debut here on the list in quite some time. This is the first issue of Absolute Superman, that first print, number 1, and it is again doing very well, as most of the Absolute series have been doing. Not all of them are selling at premiums, but a lot of them are, and they're all starting to inch up a little bit. But here we go with Absolute Superman number 1. We got 40 plus sold this past week, which is a 233% jump from the week prior, as we started a whole new story arc here in the Absolute Superman series. It's averaging about $12. Highs hitting 17, which is a 13% increase over the highs from last week, which I think was like 15 or 14. So when you're looking at it, it doesn't seem like big increases, but the volume jump is significant, as a lot of people going back and picking this one up in the first print, despite the fact that there are multiple printings available. So if you missed out, a lot of printings that you can get for many of the issues, not just issue 1. So there's many different ways for you to catch up on any of these Absolute series if you missed out the first time. I do recommend them. I actually have been reading all of them, and I've been enjoying most of everything that they've come out with so far. So no misses yet for me. No, at least big misses. Not everything is as good as the rest, but no big misses as far as I'm concerned with the Absolute universe over at DC. But before we keep talking about that, let's get to our next book here at lucky number 7.
Number 7.
And here we have another new book to the list. We have Absolute Batman again, but its most recent issue, issue 13, which gave us Absolute Catwoman and a little cameo of Absolute Harley Quinn, which a lot of people are taking to. Again, a lot of excitement over these titles these days and these books, as we're looking at every character getting a reintroduction here in a new form and a new version, and it's creating a lot of excitement here on the secondary market. With that said, it's not selling for tons of money, but when I was looking at it and I tried to figure out a way to quantify this, because there are still plenty of cover price sales and plenty of cover price copies out there on the market. Just go take a look at your shop. You probably can still find copies out there. But there is still a lot of copies selling for more than cover on the aftermarket. So with that, I kind of sorted things out, and I got over 50 sales this week alone that were over that $4.99 cover price. So with that, it's averaging just about $7, which doesn't seem like a lot. It's only a couple dollars more than the cover, but it's a trend that we're seeing. It's starting to grow and increase in price, with highs starting to hit $10 already. And this book has only been out, what, like 2 weeks so far? So a couple of weeks, it's already starting to grow, despite the fact that it seemed like a lot of these were out there and there were a lot printed. There were exclusives, a lot of incentives. The 1 in 25 was like a limited trade dress version of this. The 1 in 50 was like a virgin version of this. So a lot of different covers. This one seems to be the one standing out from the pack, just the original OGA. And again, the prices are starting to move and copies are starting to sell above cover. With that said, that is our lucky number 7 book, which takes us to our next one here at number 6.
Number 6.
And yet another Absolute Batman repeat on the list. This is Absolute Batman number 9, the Bane, first Bane, Absolute Bane in this story arc, etc. Down a couple of spots, but still selling very, very well, which is why it's still hanging on the list, despite dropping a little bit. 60 plus sold is a 20% increase over what sold last week. Averaging $13 is 30% up from last week. And highs hitting $25, which is a 79% jump from last week. So despite the fact that all of the volumes and prices are up, this still slips a couple of spots, and you'll see why as we move through the list, but definitely still earning a spot here on the list. Absolute Batman 9 has been doing very well. As I said, most of the Absolute Batmans have. So pick your poison, pick your issue. Basically, all of them now are trading at premiums to cover price. So if you can find them at your shop, they might be worth, grabbing or stashing or flipping in some cases, if that's what you choose to do. Now, with that said, that is the last book on the bottom half of our list. So now let's look at the top half with our next book here at number 5.
Number 5.
I was surprised that this book was selling as good as it has, because there are tons of them out there. But you know what? It actually is starting to move at premium prices. This is Batman number 1. The 3rd issue just came out this week of this new Matt Fraction run. I've been enjoying this series as well. It's a new costume here and a new direction for Batman. But the Batman number 1, the Jorge Jimenez cover here on the cover A, it's starting to do a little bit extra on the market. Once again, like that Catwoman book that we just talked about, the Absolute 13, this is still relatively new. There's still cover price copies out there. Even online, there are cover price copies available. But yet, we're still seeing copies sell at a little bit of a premium as they start to inch up here with, again, over 50 sold over cover. Again, I sorted this out. So I left out all the cover price sales, of which there were plenty. 50 plus sold over cover, averaging $10, highs hitting $20 on this cover A. Trend continuing, we'll see. But Batman number 1 has started to move at a premium, and something to keep an eye on as we move forward in the weeks ahead. Now, with that said, that is our number 5 book, which leads us to our number 4.
Number 4.
And finally, we got a Marvel book sneaking on the list, albeit maybe not the most interesting Marvel book, in my opinion, but Spirits of Violence number 2. Apparently, this cover features the first appearance of the character inside this book. I think she's going by the name of Violence. I guess a new Ghost Rider spirit of some kind. Again, I didn't get into the guts of this thing to know what was going on, but I was surprised and shocked to see it has been selling at a premium already, having come out just this past Wednesday. So, Spirits of Violence number 2, the Luke Ross cover here. This one in particular features the new character right there on the cover. And you know how those always stand out from the pack, despite the fact that there are a couple of other covers that are for this same book, but, she's not on the cover. With that said, 30 plus sold of this particular cover, averaging about $8 already. Just came out again with a $3.99 cover price, so it's already averaging double cover with highs already hitting $20. So definitely another one of those new Marvel books, new Marvel characters that people love to go and grab right out of the gate. So we'll see how long this lasts, but we haven't gotten a new Spirit or Spirit of Vengeance. It feels like, well, that's not true, because we got Helverine, which kind of fits, comboing the two characters. That all said, adding to the gallery of Ghost Riders or Spirits of Violence or Spirits of Vengeance, we'll see how this one lasts long term. But for now, already doing well on that aftermarket. So that is our number 4 book, which takes us to our top 3.
Number 3.
And yeah, another repeat on the week. I know you guys are like, same books, but these are the books that are selling. Despite what you might think, Absolute Batman number 1 has been doing well again. We've seen this book go up and down. It's been lingering in the background for the past year or so, just selling consistently at those prices that I mentioned last week. But from last week to this week, we've seen a jump, which is why we've seen a rise, not only in position, but in some of these prices. Now, 90 plus sales this week, which is an 80% jump in volume from the week prior. Averages up to $80, which is a 14% jump from last week, and highs hitting 105, which is just a 5% jump, because last week it was highs of 100, but raw highs this week are 105. So these are still trending upwards in all cases in volume and price. And part of those 90 plus sales, and I decided to add these in here separately because we got a lot of details and a lot of data points to cover here. But of those 90 plus sales, almost 30 of them were graded sales for this book, and the average graded sale 195, and that goes for 9.8s to whatever other lower grades, some 9.6s that sold in there as well. But average at $195 for your graded copies, with highs in those 9.8s hitting $220. So with that said, CGC Signature Series out there as well. I kind of moved those out because I didn't want them to kind of mess with our averages, but there are Signature Series copies as well. A lot of graded sales, a lot of raws, plenty moving for Absolute Batman, which is why it found itself here at number 3 this week. Now, let's look at our top 2 next.
Number 2.
All right. Now, some of you might argue that this is not actually a comic book, but it kind of is. It's just in a form that is new and unique. And this is the Ice Cream Man, the Mortal Coil Shuffle Deck. 55 playing cards sold in a deck for $10 at your LCS if they decided to order this. And on these 55 cards, it tells you a comic book story in the guise of looking like Magic the Gathering. It looks like a Magic the Gathering game card set, but it is telling you a comic book story, which to me still qualifies it as a comic book. We can argue semantics all we want, but the point is, this deck of cards sold at your LCS has been doing well already out of the gate, with over 90 sold already on the aftermarket, averaging $16. Like I told you, it had $10 cost. MSRP was $10, so it's already up to 16, with highs hitting $30 already for some of those high sales. Again, I know not every shop might have ordered these because it is sort of a unique item. Who knows? It was kind of fun. I had to get myself a deck. I haven't got mine yet. I ordered mine online because I wasn't sure if the LCS was going to grab it. So I ordered it online to cover my base there, because I was curious about this once I saw it, kind of listed there for FOC. Now, with that said, I don't know where this is going to go, but this week, selling very strong out of the gate, Ice Cream Man, the Mortal Coil Shuffle Deck at number 2, which leaves us with 1 book left. And let's see what we got here at the top of the list.
And our number 1.
Well, you're going to have a hard time arguing any other book for me for this week, but definitely number 1 in my book is Absolute Batman, the annual number 1, which came out last week. Yes, it's an annual, which I'm not usually a fan of, but a lot of interest in this book. I know there was some controversy aside with the storyline of who Batman faces inside this book, etc. But I don't think it's all related to that. I think it's also just a strong indicator that, as you can see, all of these Absolute Batman books are selling. So I don't think it's controversy related. I think it's just a matter of Absolute Batman being at the top of many people's pull and read lists these days. So with that said, this cover A by Daniel Warren Johnson has stood out from the pack. And again, some cover price sales mixed in there as well. But when you take in all of the cover price sales with the premium sales, I counted over the week, 7 days, over 1,200 sold for this book. Yeah, I usually don't go that high, but I did because I wanted to get the average right. So with over 1,200 sold, with those cover price $5.99 sales mixed in with some of those higher price sales, I saw the average go to $13. Granted, most of the premium price sales have been for like 25, 30, but I did see a high sale reach as much as $50 raw for this cover A this week. There are multiple covers on this book as well, but the cover A seems to be standing out from the pack, followed, I don't want to say closely, but followed up by the Batmobile cover, which, again, you know my feelings. I don't like the big dump truck as the Batmobile, but it is what it is. And I know the origins of it apparently are told in this story as well. But for this particular cover, this cover B, 70 plus sold for this one. This one's averaging $15, so averaging a little bit more than the A, with highs of this one hitting 30. So keep that in mind as well. And yet there are still, I think, 2 more covers to keep your eye out for, but those just are kind of lingering in that kind of like $8 kind of range, mostly. So the A and this one standing out from the pack, Absolute Batman #1, definitely the best selling book of the week, as I could see. So with that, that is our list. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found that informative and helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, as I said before, and make sure you don't go anywhere, because the boys with the qualified are starting next. As soon as I'm done here, they're going to be going over a plethora of covers of a particular artist here. So you might want to stick around and check it out, because it should be interesting if you like some of these, classic covers, because the boys got a lot to cover and a lot to talk about, and a few of their other segments as well. So stick around for the qualified, and I will see you all later with some more content. All right.